Good morning and welcome to a show we like to call the Dallas Download, the show where we keep you in the know on what's trending, what's happening, and what's actually worth your time. You know, so you don't have to scroll for 3 hours to figure it out. I'm Kayla, and this week we've got this.
It has adorable little cherries hanging from the actual atomizer, a real collector's item.
53% of Americans told us that they're very worried about catastrophes and severe weather, but only a little over a quarter of them are actually doing something about it.
All that and more right here on the Dallas Download.
Have you ever wondered what it really takes to send technology to the moon and then make it work once it's there? There's a new documentary called Drive Me to the Moon. It takes viewers behind the scenes of a groundbreaking lunar mission and the collaboration that made it possible. So joining us today is Fabiana Neves, Vice President of Castrol Americas, to talk about the film and why this moment matters for the future of space exploration. Welcome to the show, Fabiana. How are you?
Thank you for having me. All good here today. Thank you.
All right, for our viewers just hearing about it, what is Drive Me to the Moon and what story does the documentary tell?
Drive Me to the Moon is a documentary where you will see everything behind the scenes on what it takes to be in the moon, from the concept to design, to collaboration, to bringing innovation, technology, and all steps towards making sure, hey, we are in the moon again.
And the movie follows the Lunar Voyage 1 mission from early testing to touchdown on the moon. What do you think will surprise people most when they watch it?
Well, the first one is making sure that the collaboration with the private sector and how new innovation has evolved and made it possible for the first time ever be in the lunar South Pole. So that's a pioneer opportunity never done before. And you can see firsthand, right, so on the documentary.
Mission control is also a big part of the story. What makes this operation so unique compared to past lunar missions?
Mission control is the brain behind the machines and truly what monitors, give control, as well as receive the data and insights of everything that is happening from the moment of the launch until the machine is in there, right? So is the brain, is the women behind everything that happens, right? So the ability to monitor, to receive the images, the data, the insights, and then turn this into actions that we can learn and evolve further is definitely the heart and the brain behind everything happening there.
And Castrol has been involved in space exploration for decades. How did that experience shape their role in this mission and making of this film?
For over 7 decades, we have been partnering with NASA since the Apollo mission, worked with the Mars missions, with the rovers, the Opportunity, the Curiosity, the Perseverance rovers, and our technology have evolved and enabled these missions to be successful. Now partnering with Lunar Outpost and the private sector to making sure that we do evolve, that we bring the technology, and our lubricants enable those missions to be successful is critical, has been critical for Castrol. We are really, really proud of being partnering and working and evolving with the space industry.
With renewed excitement around lunar exploration right now, how does this mission help set the stage for what's coming next?
Yeah, great question. We are definitely keen to support the goal of finding a sustainable way of having human presence in the moon. This mission was a first step towards that goal, so we are keen to continue partnering and making sure that, hey, we can make this a reality and there is a sustainable way for having human presence in the moon.
So where can our viewers go check out Drive Me to the Moon and maybe get more information?
You can go to our website, castrol.com/drive-me-to-the-moon, and also you can find us on YouTube.
Fabiana Neves, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
It's not every day you see daughters planning their mom's wedding, but that is exactly what this new series is all about. Mom the Bride flips the script and follows women helping their moms celebrate love later in life, from dress fittings to the big day itself. Erin Cahill hosts the series on Hallmark Plus, and she's joining us now. Erin, it's great to see you. How are you?
Hi, it's great to see you, Dan. Thanks for having me.
All right, this idea really flips the traditional mother of the bride role, but what stood out to you in this concept?
Oh, Well, what you just said, it's really flipping the script on weddings. We're used to seeing, I mean, it's right there in the intro. We're used to seeing moms plan their daughters' weddings, but to see the daughters have the opportunity to do this for their mothers is honestly one of the sweetest things I've ever experienced in my life.
And each episode, it follows a different family. What kind of stories or moments can viewers expect to see?
Well, so it's 6 real mothers and daughters, 6 real weddings. And what you can expect to see is everything you would anticipate with a wedding. The excitement, the stress, but also like inspiration and joy. And you can expect surprises in every episode. We really set our mind to surprising the brides and the families. And it is such a joy-filled ride, and it's all the emotions. That's the other thing you can expect. You can expect happiness, tears, laughter, and being really touched.
And you mentioned there's a lot of emotion packed into this. What surprised you the most while working with these moms and daughters?
I was pleasantly surprised at how much it meant to everybody. I knew, in my heart that would be the case, but to see these daughters just want to get it so right for their moms, and then to see the moms letting go of the steering wheel, and saying, okay, yes, take care of me for once, thank you, was just so special. Honestly, it's such an honor and a joy to be part of this with them. Oh, like I will never forget it. I'll never stop being grateful. I'm not over it. We were filming for 6 months and I'm not over it.
And you've been part of so many Hallmark projects. How does hosting a series like this compare to acting in one?
Oh, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. I've never done anything, unscripted in this way. And so to get to, to go to work every day, I say work because it was such a joy, but to get to go to work and be part of this. I mean, I got to go to cake tastings and dress fittings and go to pick out venues. And it was such a blast. It didn't feel like work. It just truly felt like a gift. And I fell in love with each one of these families so purely. So by the time the weddings came around, I was like,
And the show really celebrates love a little later in life and
Yes.
family connection. What do you hope people take away after watching?
Oh, I love that. I hope that people feel inspired by what you just said, that connection, that family bond. I hope people feel, mothers and daughters for sure. Of course, I hope you get related back to your own love and you're like, oh, you want to call your mom and say, I love you. Or, mothers call their daughters and say, I love you. But really it's about the whole family. I hope that people just feel so inspired about love and connection and family and celebrating that.
Erin Cahill, I really want to thank you for joining us today. Mom's the Bride is now streaming on Hallmark Plus, so you can watch the full series pretty much any time you feel. All right, Erin, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan.
Some cancers get talked about constantly, while others stay surprisingly overlooked. Bladder cancer is one of the most common cancers in the country, affecting over 700,000 Americans, yet many people still don't know much about it. Today, we're joined by Meri-Margaret Deoudes, CEO of the Bladder Cancer Advocacy Network, to help break it down and explain why awareness is so important. Welcome, Meri-Margaret.
Thank you so much for welcoming me, and to Jurgen for providing us the opportunity to reach more folks and create more awareness.
So, my friend, bladder cancer is more common than a lot of people realize. Why do you think it's still so under-recognized?
Yeah, it's the 7th most common cancer in the United States, 4th most among our veteran population. Unfortunately, you're very right. People don't like to talk about it. Our patients are uncomfortable because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing cancer. It's below the belt. Has to do with the bladder. So there's a lot of reluctance to share that kind of information. And also it's a stressful journey. It can be managed as a chronic disease, but that includes a lot of scans, a lot of treatments, a lot of doctor's appointments. So from a mental health standpoint, just don't have the bandwidth to share that information without greater awareness and understanding the disease.
And what does the impact of bladder cancer look like in communities at the local level?
Yeah, so over 700,000 folks nationally, which is the population of Vermont or Wyoming, not nearly as big as Texas, of course. There'll be 84,000 new cases diagnosed this year across the country, and about 5,000 of those in Texas alone. So really important for folks to recognize the signs. The most important sign is if you have blood in your urine at any time, man or woman, don't ignore it. Even if it goes away, you still need to call your physician and get screened for bladder cancer. It's really, really important. It may not be bladder cancer, but it's an important step to managing the disease and your overall outcome.
And for people who want to help, what are some ways they can support fundraising efforts or even get involved?
Yeah. Since May is Bladder Cancer Awareness Month, we have our walks going on across the country in 21 communities across the country. The idea is to bring bladder cancer patients and their families together, provide opportunities for them to connect, get to know each other, and understand that no one walks alone, right? They are not alone in this journey, and providing them support and resources as well from the Bladder Cancer Advocacy Network. And so to do that, people can go to beaconwalk.org, bcanwalk.org. We don't have a Dallas Walk yet. We're working on that. But you could set up a virtual team, walk with friends and family in your neighborhood, or you could make a donation to support our efforts to raise awareness and provide much needed materials to patients and their families.
And speaking of families, this disease affects more than just the patient. How does it impact families, caregivers, and entire communities?
Yeah, unfortunately, many of us know what it's like to have a loved one diagnosed with cancer, right? It does affect the patient and also the family as well. With bladder cancer, it does reoccur, and it's a very high prevalence of reoccurrence that can be treated, but that's really takes a toll. 80% of our patients are worried about that recurrence. And of course, that impacts the caregiver, the family. There's a lot of anxiety and not a lot of formal support or resources. We provide that through Beacon on our website and other channels, both for the patients and the caregivers. As well as it's a financially expensive endeavor, unfortunately. It's the most expensive cancer to treat. So 1 in 5 of our patients have to navigate also the fact that the cost is really difficult for that family. So they're juggling, health and financial impacts that can create a lot of stress. And mental health is really something that impacts not just the patient, but also the family as well.
And where can viewers go if they'd like more information or resources?
Yeah, they can go to our website, Bladder Cancer Advocacy Network, and our website is bcan.org.
Meri-Margaret, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mother's Day is almost here, and let's be honest, most moms are still doing a million things for everybody else. So today we're talking about quick, realistic self-care ideas that can help moms feel a little more refreshed without adding more stress to the day. Dr. Leah Cardwell is here with some easy beauty and skincare tips busy moms can actually fit into real life. Welcome, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So why is it so important for moms to make time for even small moments of self-care?
Absolutely. So moms are always taking care of everyone else, and it's often at the expense of themselves. It can contribute to fatigue, burnout, stress, and we don't want that. So we really want to prioritize self-care, and self-care does not have to be complicated. A little can go a long way. I actually find clinically that my patients follow simple routines more consistently, and I see better results with those simple routines followed in a consistent manner versus an aggressive routine that's very complicated that they're more so following intermittently.
And what are some quick things moms can do to feel good and stay cool during busy days?
Absolutely, yeah. So they're always busy, never slowing down, even on Mother's Day. So I really love Secret's new whole body cooling deodorant mist and relaxing lavender. It's a great option for on-the-go solution, a nice pick-me-up that moms can actually spritz on their skin. It's been demonstrated to cool the skin by 10 degrees, so that's awesome. So whether they're overheated due to stress or hormones or exercise or even just daily mom life, this is a great go-to option to just cool the skin and keep them cool, calm, and collected.
And not everybody has time for long beauty routines. So what are some easy ways to still look refreshed and put together?
Yeah, so I really love Olay's microsculpting cream with triple collagen peptide. It is a special product that activates cells to repair signs of skin aging. So it helps with fine lines and wrinkles. It works with your natural collagen. Patients and moms can apply this to their skin on the face and neck area after cleansing. And it's just a nice one-stop shop that packs a punch.
And what are some simple skincare habits that can actually make a difference?
Yeah, so whether we're talking about facial skin or skin on the body, it's all skin, right? You have to prioritize a few things. Make sure you're hydrating your skin. Make sure that you are prioritizing barrier support. And then also you want to make sure that you're avoiding irritants. And I love Native's moisturizing body wash just for that reason, because it prioritizes It's this hydration. It moisturizes the skin. It has a beautiful lather. It comes in a variety of fun scents. It really transforms that daily shower into a 24-hour hydration treatment.
And where can we go for more information?
Yes. So you can go to bit.ly, that's bit.ly/Mother's Day Beauty Buys.
Dr. Leah Cardwell, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me, Kayla.
Shingles is one of those things people have heard of, but a lot of us don't really know what it's like until it hits close to home. It can be painful, it can last for weeks, and for adults over 50, the risk goes up a lot. So what should you actually be watching out for, and what can you do about it? Today, we've got Dr. Leonard Friedland and Dr. Samantha Picking here to help us understand it. Welcome to you both.
Hello.
For someone who's never had shingles, what does it feel like and how can it affect your everyday life?
Yeah, it's a great question. Dr. Samantha Picking, Senior Director of Immunizations at Walgreens here. Now, if you've never experienced shingles or you don't know someone that's had it, because you probably would know if one of your friends had it, it's more than just a rash, which most people think of when they think of shingles. You can also get fever, headache, chills, upset stomach, and the pain from shingles can actually last for weeks, and it really interrupts your day-to-day life. So think just work, time with family and friends, interrupting your sleep. It all can be disrupted. So shingles can really happen at any time, and it doesn't matter what you have going on in life. So think graduations, weddings, any major life events you have on the calendar, shingles can disrupt that.
And why are people more at risk once they do turn 50?
Yes, hi, this is Dr. Leonard Friedland, a vaccine research scientist at GSK. No matter how healthy we feel, our immune systems weaken as we age, and starting at age 50, the risk of developing shingles significantly increases. Shingles, also called herpes zoster, it's a painful, blistering rash that's caused by that same virus that causes chickenpox. And once you've had chickenpox, the virus remains dormant in your body and it can reactivate years later, causing shingles. 99% of adults 50 years of age and older already have the chickenpox virus in their bodies. 1 in 3 people will develop shingles over the course of their lifetime. So age is one of the most important risk factors for shingles, and 50 is when that risk increases.
And why is this a good time for adults 50 and older to talk to their local Walgreens pharmacist about shingles?
It's a great time to talk to your pharmacist. Even though we may feel young and healthy well beyond our 50th birthday, the truth is that our immune system does start to weaken and our risk of developing shingles increases as we age. People may not believe shingles will impact them, and it's only something that older people may get, but really it's more common than people may think. Actually, 1 million people in the US get shingles every single year. So this is a reminder to those Gen Xers born before 1976, you are at increased risk for shingles. Now is the time to be proactive, talk to your local Walgreens pharmacist about your risk for shingles and about prevention.
And are there other risk factors besides age that people should know about?
Well, we've talked about age being the most important risk factor for shingles, as most cases occur in people 50 and older. But stress can also increase your risk. Additionally, certain health conditions like diabetes, chronic kidney disease, and heart diseases, these have all been associated with an increased risk for shingles. So if you're 50 years of age and older, particularly if you have one of those health conditions, speak to your pharmacist about the risk for shingles and about prevention.
And how can talking with a Walgreens pharmacist actually help someone prevent shingles?
It's a great question. Now, remember, your Walgreens pharmacist is your local, trusted, accessible healthcare provider who can assess your risk for vaccine-preventable diseases like shingles. They can help guide that conversation, answer any questions or concerns you may have, and then really talk about prevention. So for those 50 years of age and older, I encourage you to ask your Walgreens pharmacist about your specific risk for shingles. It's really easy. You can walk in at any time. Like I said, they're super accessible. But if you want to plan ahead, you can also visit walgreens.com and schedule an appointment ahead of time.
I know you just mentioned Walgreens, but walgreens.com, but one more time, just to put it on one spot, where can people go to learn more about shingles and their risk?
Well, thank you, Kayla. So just to reinforce what Dr. Pickering was saying, if you're 50 years of age and older, ask your local pharmacist about your risk for certain vaccine-preventable diseases, including shingles. We also have another website. It's easyvax.com, EASYVAX, easyvax.com. And at that website, you can find a pharmacist near where you live and make an appointment to go in, speak with the pharmacist about certain vaccine preventable diseases, including shingles, and about prevention.
Dr. Leonard Friedland and Dr. Samantha Picking, thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Storm season is here, and it's not just one type of weather we're dealing with anymore. We're seeing everything from severe storms to extreme heat, and it can all overlap. So what should you actually be doing right now to stay safe? Today, we've got April Eaton with the All-State Catastrophe Team joining us today. Welcome, April. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having us.
So we're seeing more unpredictable weather lately. What's different about this storm season compared to what people are used to?
The season really seems to be blending together. We're seeing more severe storms, more frequent storms. It's definitely unpredictable, like you said. But those start and stops to the season that we used to see, it almost seems like they're happening constantly. In fact, Allstate responded to 115 catastrophes last year in 2025, where we helped our customers recover, rebuild, and that is up from about 85 events that we responded to on average about a decade ago. So that shows you that it's so important that people start preparing, start understanding the weather risks that they face in their communities, and then know what to do to prepare for that weather.
And you've looked at data from people who've been through disasters. What do they say they wish they had done differently?
Yeah, those people who experienced a disaster, lived through a disaster, say that they would have saved a little bit of money for an emergency fund of sorts so that they had a little cash in hand in order to be able to be safe immediately after that disaster. Maybe they needed a hotel room or something like that. Others said that they would have documented their belongings and kept an inventory list of the items and the belongings that they had in their home. Some said that they would have backed up important documents digitally, make sure that they had those important papers in place. 53% of Americans told us that they're very worried about catastrophes and severe weather, but only a little over a quarter of them are actually doing something about it. So they understand that the risk is real, but they're not preparing in the proper way. And so those folks that sort of have gone through it, giving that insight into how they would do it differently is really important for folks to hear.
And for someone watching right now, what are a few simple things that they can do to be better prepared?
They can start by building a quick little evacuation kit, that little grab and go kit that has some key items like maybe a first aid kit, a weather radio, a change of clothes, important papers, their medicines. They can also sort of practice an evacuation plan, especially if they live in areas that are prone to the catastrophes where they know they have to get to safety very quickly. And also, one other thing, sort of figure out what the safe place is inside your home if you need to shelter in place and sort of try to ride out the storm as safe as you can be. So 3 quick things that folks can do right now before the weather hits.
Those are all great tips. And a lot of people don't actually think about this part, but what about scams after a storm?
Yeah, that's an interesting piece as well. Imagine you're trying to pick up the pieces, you're trying to clean up. Sometimes scammers take advantage of those vulnerable times. In fact, the survey told us that 30% of the people who have been impacted by a catastrophe find themselves also victims of scams. And so we tell people to sort of be very skeptical of anyone who's trying to pry personal information or financial information from you, especially if they want you to act quickly, like sign a contract or put money up front. Be very aware and very leery of those things. We also tell folks to sort of monitor their bank and their credit accounts for any kind of suspicious claims that may show up on those accounts, to be aware of that.
And aside from those 2 things, my friend, how else can people protect themselves?
Well, they can sort of go to allstate.com and get all sorts of information that we have there. We've got sort of tips and pointers that will help you no matter what weather you deal with, no matter where you live. Those kinds of things are available for you on our website.
And one more time, hun, where was that website if people want to go for more information or tips?
Allstate.com is the website there. And no matter whether you're our customer or not, right, we've got all sorts of resources and information there, from how to sort of prepare before the storm to what you need to do immediately after the storm to recover. And then also long-term out, what you can do to sort of invest in resilience pieces to make that home stronger when you're building back, to make your community stronger down the road.
April Eaton, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Picking out a fragrance for someone else can feel like a lot of pressure, especially for Mother's Day. You want something thoughtful, something personal, but also something they'll actually love. Today, we're getting a little help from Linda G. Levy, president of the Fragrance Foundation. Welcome, Linda.
Thanks for having me on. It's great to be with you, Kayla.
So when people are out shopping for Mother's Day, what's a simple way to narrow down the right perfume for mom?
There are so many fragrances out there, it can be overwhelming. My advice would be either online or in-store to concentrate on scent profiles. Floral, fruity, sweet, aquatic. It really helps you narrow down or get in a lane, so to speak.
And if you're buying online and you can't smell it, what should you look for before you hit buy?
Well, when you go through these scent profiles, there's always an ingredient listing. One of the biggest trends right now, for instance, in the fruit category, is peach or cherry. In fact, I have a great one here in the studio today. It's the latest from Coach. It has adorable little cherries hanging from the actual atomizer, a real collector's item. And if you know how you feel about cherry, I know it sounds funny, but it's an emotional connection. And the person you're gifting would like something that would be like a nice cherry candy that you could almost smell. This is the one for you.
And what are some of the big fragrance trends you're seeing this Mother's Day?
So in addition to this fruit category, it's also always at springtime a great time to look at the floral category. We have so many different florals with roses or peonies. These are great examples right here. Givenchy is, I just have to take a little peek, is really, and I thought it's big in the rose category. So you know what roses smell like. No woman should not have a collection that would include a few rose fragrances. So this is a great one also that's available. Macy's, Ulta, Sephora, everywhere.
So how is shopping for fragrance in the spring different from those winter holiday months?
Well, just as I was saying about floral, Kayla, it's interesting that people want, even if the climate doesn't change all that much, even in Dallas, you're going to go from your boots into your sandals. And with that, you want a different collection. And most of the time in wintertime, you want something that's warm, long-lasting, probably very intense, where in the springtime, these florals will really take you to a lighter version for your fragrance collection.
And my friend, where can viewers go if they want more tips or ideas?
We'd love for you to look at www.fragrance.org online. You can learn a lot about fragrance. Or if you can follow us at Fragrance Foundation on Instagram, we show something new every single day.
Linda G. Levy, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure to be with you, and happy Mom's Day to you, Kayla.
Happy Mother's Day. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of The Dallas Download. We are so excited to be here, and we can't wait to do it again with you next week. Catch us right here on KDAF, Sundays at 5:30 a.m. And if you just can't get enough of the show, I know I can't, head to DallasDownload.com and follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all at The Dallas Download. Thanks for watching, and until next time, that was a show we like to call The Dallas Download.